Hey there, everybody. This is Ellen Lewis. My pronouns are she and her. I am a leader at Champion Enterprises, and I am here to talk to you today about moving up in 2023. Now, before I get started, I want to give you just a little bit of background on me, just a little, just to kind of give you an idea of where I'm coming from. So, I started the business back in, oh gosh, I don't know the year. I've been in the business about 14 years, so you do the math. Maybe 50. But when I started the business all those years ago, I started the business to make money. We were struggling financially, and that was the only reason, honestly, that I started to sell Tupperware. And it was back at the beginning or around the time of the recession at that time. And the reason why I'm telling you is because people say we're in the middle or in the beginning of a recession here, and I want to give you hope. And I want you to know that I built my business in that type of economy, and you can too. Absolutely. And now, even more so, just because you have so many more avenues available to you to sell Tupperware. So, if you're sitting here and you're just like, yeah, you're going to have a great year, Ellen, in 2023, because you already have an army of people. No. All those years ago, I went into that new year with 5 people, I think, in my unit. And I came out, I don't even know how many people we grew that year. It was insane. But I came out that year, way further ahead, making full-time money in Tupperware. I started making that right away. And I will kind of tell you a little bit about that story as I go on a little bit more. But I just kind of wanted to give you a snapshot of who I am and where I came from. And so I remember, if this gives you kind of like a glimpse, I remember shadowing Pam at a party. Pam is my business leader. I'm a champion, so Pam Clift is my business leader. And I remember shadowing her at a party. And on the way home, we stopped at a gas station, and she filled her gas tank up. And I was like, whoa, she just dropped like $90 and didn't even bat an eye. Like, that's where we were financially, right? I wasn't filling up my gas tank. I was putting in $20 here, $10 there, whatever I had, right? And so I just remember thinking that. And it's funny, the things that like stick with you and that you remember. And I remember thinking to myself, like, someday I'm going to fill up my gas tank and not think about it, not think about how much it is, just fill it up because I need the gas, right? So I want you to just kind of like think about it from that perspective. So if you're in that space, I'm offering you hope. If you're not in that space, congratulations. But I'm giving you hope too, because there's so much available to us and so much growth that we can have going into this new year. So I'm really excited to talk to you today and share with you about it. The first thing I really want to talk about that is kind of off the beaten path is your mindset. Okay. And I'm just going to touch on this because I could train for days on mindset, but I want to talk about your positive mindset and being able to turn things in a positive way. And that's all it is. Start there. Okay. Start there. Just turning things into a positive statement. Now, I'm going to give you an example about my husband, and hopefully he doesn't get mad. So a couple days ago, my husband had the flu recently, and he missed some work, so he's behind. And so a couple of days ago, and I'm going to censor what he said to me. He was like, I don't know what kind of drugs I was doing, but I totally messed up this thing up. And then he was like, I'm so behind and this, that, and the other, right? And I told him, I said, can I offer you some constructive criticism? And he's like, okay. He's used to it by now, right? And he said, okay. And I said, so as soon as you said you don't know what kind of drugs you were on, I stopped. I didn't hear anything after that because all I thought of was how awful it would be if you were on drugs. And he's like, okay. And he kind of laughed. And I said, so give yourself some grace, right? You were sick a couple days before you missed work, right? So your mind maybe wasn't in the right place. So you made a mistake. It's okay. And as far as catching up, you will catch up. We all catch up, right? We all catch up at some point. It's not always pretty, right? But we do catch up. And he was like, okay, you're right. And I need those reminders too. And so I want you to kind of be aware of the language that you're using. Because I told him, I said, you're saying these words and they're going out your mouth and into your ear. And he's just like, yeah. And so I want you to think about that too, right? I want you to think about the words that you're saying, but also the words that are being said around you, right? Um, I can't, Eric is normally, I keep kind of similar. He normally sits right there that we share the office. And so he's not here now. But Eric is he's a positive guy. Like he has come over to the positive side, right? Over the years of being with me. And so, but we all have those moments, right? And so, but in the beginning, I would try to kind of help him frame things in a positive way. And sometimes I got resistance and that was okay. So when that happened, I put myself just kind of in my little invisible bubble and I was like, I'm not gonna absorb that, right? I'm not gonna absorb that negativity. And that's the key. I mean, sometimes you can't get away from the negativity, but you are in control of you. So you have control as to what you let penetrate. And if something gets in there that you didn't intend, then you drown it out, right? With amazing positivity. There's so much available. I mean, seriously, just Google, right? Google, you will find like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour trainings, talks that people have given on positivity. So you can kind of fix that. So that's the first thing, because I think your mindset is a part of everything you do, everything, everything, everything. So now let's talk about leadership. All right. Because we're talking about moving up for more. Right. And so let's talk about leadership. And because the great money comes through the leadership, you can make really good money on your own, but great money comes through that leadership. Now, some of you are already starting to tune me out, and I beg you, please tune back in for just a second. Okay. Because some of you are like, I'm not a leader. I'm not a leader. I don't want to lead people. I don't want to do all those things. And I want to tell you, like, it's a learned skill, right? I don't like it when people are like, oh, that person's successful because they're a natural born leader. Maybe they may be born with and absorbed all these like great leadership skills growing up and they grew up in that, but not everybody is, right? And so and I wouldn't necessarily say, I mean, it wasn't an awful environment. What is it? Was it a leadership like inducing environment? I don't know. But I definitely have learned way more than I brought to the table all those years ago, I'm telling you. So you can do that. And for those of you that are just like, no, I don't have a leadership bone in my body, I challenge that because we use our leadership skills every single day, right? If you have a spouse, a significant other, whatever, you have a partner in life and your best friend, whatever, you use leadership skills with them, right? Active listening. That is a key leadership skill, right? Empathy. Being able to simplify communication, right? I have to do that a lot because he tells these things and I'm like, bottom line. I have to take a deep breath, and sometimes I'm in that mode, right? You're in that mode. You're like, get to it, right? And so, but you simplify communication. We do that all the time with the significant people in our lives. Now, if you have kids, you got leadership skills, okay? You do, right? You have creativity, right? Having to try to like make fun out of nothing, right? In a waiting room. It's easier now with phones, but it didn't always used to be that way. And sometimes your phones die. All right. And then you have flexibility. If you don't have flexibility as a parent, then you're in an uphill battle. So you need to learn that. But also convincing them to do things that you need them to do, right? We use that skill on the day. Well, I wouldn't even say on the daily. I would say sometimes on the hour, right? Hourly, we use that skill to convince our kids of the things that we need them to do, right? We use that skill all the time. Now, for those of you that are like, I'm single and I live alone and I don't have any of these people you're talking about, you have work, you have social settings, right? Where you use your influence to change people's minds, right? Whether it's a fun political debate and or if it's just even what movie to go watch or what restaurant to go to. You got the skills is what I'm saying, okay? You have leadership skills and you can hone them over time. And one of the things that I did that really enhanced my leadership skills was I watched, right? I watched leaders that I respected and I learned from them. I learned from Pam, my upline, right? You have uplines, you have sidelines, you have sister leaders here in our region, right? You have all these people that you can learn from. And you can also go outside of that, right? Two of my favorite leaders to learn from are John Maxwell and John Gordon. If you have never heard of them, do yourself a favor and Google it, right? And Google it and do yourself a favor. Give yourself the gift of great leadership mentorship this Christmas and buy just one of their books or one of their audibles or whatever, right? Or even just subscribe to their newsletter. So many free resources out there for you to be able to tap into mentors for leadership. All right. So when it comes to moving up for more, step one is recruit. Right? You can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. There's no two ways about it. You cannot do it alone. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick little timeline story of when I got started. So I got started actually in the fall, which is kind of cool. I got started in at the end of a record breaker month. It was like the last week of the record breaker month, and November was my first month in business. And so when I started, I told Pam, I said, I need to make $3,000 ASAP, right? And so she's like, okay. So in my first month, I made $1,500 in basically my commissions. And I was like, wow, I'm like halfway there just on like my efforts, and I can control me. So that's really good news. so I was like, okay. So then as I was recruiting and leading, getting them in the system, right? And so as I'm recruiting, I started to like I'm keeping my income, the $1,500. That's all I could really do. That's all time allowed me. I had two very small children. And my husband worked two jobs. He worked a job that varied during the day. His daytime hours varied. And he worked 45 hours there, and he worked 20 hours at night. And now this was in person, right? There was no virtual option. There were catalog parties, but it was in-person events and parties. And so I had to squeeze my time in around his time. So that was truly all I could physically do at that time. And so, and you can make really good money doing that, right? But yeah, so then I started recruiting, and I was like, okay, so my bonus that came off of my little unit was $100 one month. And then it was like $300. And then next thing I knew, I was between my commission and my bonus, I was making $2,000. I'm like, oh, I am so close to this goal. Like I'm 2/3 the way to my goal. I'm like, all right, let's leverage more, right? So I kept recruiting and recruiting and recruiting, getting more, right? And then I got to that. And then my goal was, okay, so can I get my bonus to match what my commissions are? And that was my goal, right? And so that was my first goal was to get my bonus match my commissions, which would give me my 3,000, right? Then I'm like, can I make my bonus double my commissions, right? I still do those comparisons, which is really funny. But it's a great way to kind of like just check and see, because the problem with all the bulk of your money coming from your commissions is that life happens. Right? Life happens all over the place. Okay. And it keeps you from being able to go do those things. And so that's where, because when you're basing it just on your straight commissions, you have a good month, your month, not so great, good month, not so great. Right. So your income's like a wave, right? A big wave. So as you're recruiting, you're taking that wave into a wiggle, right? So it starts to be more regular. And the cool thing about and I'm going to give you, here's a little side tip. Okay. A lot of times one of the objections I get when I tell people about Tupperware and that they could make potentially full-time income in Tupperware, they're like, oh, it's commission though. I need to count on my money is what they say to me. And I always, and I hear this, I don't want to say a lot, but I've heard a decent amount. That's why I wanted to give you this tip. So what I say to them is, oh, I do too, because my bills come every month. So yeah, I have to count on my commission as well. And so there are ways that you can make it so that it's very regular for you and it's very dependable. And I said, now, one of the things I do like about being commission based is, if something happens, like, I need an extra $200, $300, $500 here, I know that I'm in control of that. And I can actually like ramp up my sales to make up that money. Whereas if I was at, a salary position, I can't really do much with that. Right. And so that's my objection to that. So just so you know, you can just kind of take a little note there. It's a good overcoming objection for that. So the thing is like I said, I was kind of like, I'm matching my commission, I'm getting my bonus higher and all that good stuff. And that's wonderful. And when you step back and you look at the big picture view, it looks like it went like this, right? That's big picture view. However, in reality, in any business, it goes more like this. Right? It's like do 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 do. It's like two steps up, one step down, three steps up, two steps down, right? But if you look at the big picture view, it's like this, right? So what the reason why I'm telling you that is I don't want you to get discouraged if you're like, I'm not going like this, Ellen, because last month I was here and this month, like last month I was here and this month I'm here and then it looks like this month I'm going to be here and you're thinking it's not working. No, it is. You're just in a dip, and that's okay because there are all these like little dips and valleys and stuff in the business. And so the way out is through recruiting. That's the way out. When you're in a little bit of a dip, that is never the time to stop recruiting. That's never the time to think this doesn't work. I shouldn't be recruiting people into this business. It doesn't work. No, that's a line you're selling yourself, and it's the easy way out, quite honestly. And so, sorry, that was a little targeted coaching there. Okay, but I'm just trying to be truthful with you. And so when you're in a little bit of a dip, never, ever, ever, ever stop recruiting. You need to double down on your recruiting to get up out of that dip, because the name of the game is to get higher, right? And so you may be here, you may dip down here, but when you keep with your recruiting and you up it, then you might land at a higher plateau. That's the goal, right? Who cares about the route you took to get from here to there, right? You just need to get here, right? Okay. So it's so important to recruit through that dip. All right. So those of you that are sitting there, some of you are just like, oh, this is great. Yeah, recruiting's the answer. Right. Rock on. I'm so glad that you guys are with me on this. However, some of you, your belief may be wavering just slightly because you're in a dip. And that's absolutely okay. Dips are expected. And honestly, dips make you better. They do, because you have to sharpen your skills in the dip, right? You have to push a little bit harder to get just a few more recruits so that you can get out of that dip as fast as possible, right? Okay, so step one is recruiting, right? And so the reason why you want to start now is because I'll tell you a secret. A lot of people take these weeks off. So a lot of people take these weeks off. And I don't know about you, but who doesn't love a head start? Right? So if you're recruiting now, you're getting a head start on all those people that took the time off. And you're setting yourself up for success in January, because you can get people started right now, get them in the system. You can even do a quick little launch party for them, right? And then you can do a bigger launch party for them in January, right? And so you can kind of like do a pre-launch and then a launch in January. So do a little bit of a launch now to get some sales in, get them feeling that success, and then launch them fully in January, right? And so, and that is just like, seriously, that will just set you up for success going into the new year. And let me tell you another little secret. If you're ever bummed about your business, recruit somebody. Because I'm telling you, it is like a B12 shot in the arm. You're just all of a sudden, you're just like, woo! I'm like, I got new blood on my team and I'm ready to roll, right? And so that's what you're doing. You're doing yourself that favor. So give yourself the gift of not only some sort of leadership, right? But also give yourself the gift of some new recruits on your team. It will just fuel your fire, right? It'll absolutely fuel your fire. So you want to make sure to go ahead and just be recruiting right now and be like, hey, I'm going into 2023. It's going to be my best year ever. And I'm really excited. And I would love to take you along with me, right? I'm gaining momentum. I would love to take you along with me. Let's go. Right? And just, it's as simple as that. It does not have to be this big, long script of all these things that you have to say, right? That's why when people ask me for word choices, like, how do you say this? And I'm just like, well, who's the person, right? Because it varies. But my go-to when it comes to recruiting is, hey, I'm doing this and I think you would be absolutely amazing because XYZ. And then I'm like, so what do you think? right? What do you think? Let's run together, right? And so those are typically my word choices, right? So so just be you. I mean, honestly, I think that this new year should be the year of authenticity, because authenticity is what really escalates you in this business, right? When you are you, when you are your truest self, people see that, they love it, and they want to be around it, and they want it. They want to figure out what their most authentic self is, right? They want that too. And so, yes, I love all these. I just happen to notice all the chats. I love all the chats. Everybody's like, keep it simple. Somebody's like recapping the things I'm saying. I love that. But I can't tell who it is because I'm using StreamYard. All right. So, all right. So the other thing is I want you to recognize is the thing that we're offering right now is it's financial security, and it's a relief of financial anxiety, right? If anybody's ever felt that, remember me talking about the gas tank, right? That was definitely quite a time period of financial anxiety. Now, this is going to sound a little crazy, but I remember when I was so excited when I first started in the business. I'm still excited. Okay, let's face it. You can tell right now, I'm sure. So I'm so excited, but I was so excited when I started the business because I remember having conversations, and I'm sure I sounded like I had a keg of the Kool-Aid, okay, and I was drinking it all the time because I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing. You know what I realized is I think I had this conversation with Pam. I was like, you know what I realized? I'm like, Tupperware is the best kept secret of all of direct sales. The fact that you can join a Fortune 500 company and have the name brand recognition already built in for you and make money is insane. Like, it is insane. It is such a gift. Do you know how many like startup companies are out there and people spend more time explaining who they are and what they do before they even get to the pitch about the products? All we have to say is Tupperware. And people are like, I love Tupperware, right? I mean, seriously, you can't buy publicity like that. So, I mean, seriously, it's still the best kept secret in all of direct sales. So get excited about that. Okay. Get totally excited about that. But I remember also like that same time period. I remember, I mean, I was truly drinking the Kool-Aid. Like I was like, anybody that I know will never have to worry about like their finances because this is always an option for them. I remember feeling so strongly about this. I was like, this is always an option for them. And they can sell Tupperware and make money. Like I don't have to lend people money. I will show them how to make the money in this business because I'm making money and I don't really even know what I'm doing. Right. So, I mean, your belief needs to be so unwavering and just recognizing that that's what we're offering. We are offering financial security because there are people out there that are falling behind by only a couple $100 a month. That's it. And it's $200 here, it's $400 here, it's another $200 here. Next thing you know, they're $2,000 behind in their mortgage or their car payments, or they're putting it on credit cards and paying the interest. I mean, seriously, that is the stress relief that we are offering right here, right now, every day in this business, every day. So we owe it to ourselves and we owe it to all the wonderful people in our lives to make sure they understand that this is always an option. They may not be into it right now, and that's okay, but it's always an option. All right. And let's see here. I'm trying to make sure I hit everything I wanted to hit. And I think I did. So I'm so excited to grow. Yes, I think we can all grow in this new year, and we can grow together and just seriously make our region the fastest growing region. I mean, we've been there in the past. I'm not sure if we are right now. Actually, I don't know what the numbers are. But we can keep going. And I'm so excited to be at this Winterfest. I'm so excited. The train this week has been amazing. If you guys have not like tuned into that, go back and watch the replays. And tomorrow is going to be so high energy. I don't know about y'all. I can't wait to see Cheryl Smith and see what kind of like bomb she drops on us tomorrow. So I'm super excited about that. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. All right, I am going to leave you with this thought, and that is the best way to predict the future is to create it. All right. I love you all so much. And I look forward to seeing all of your success in the new year. All right. Bye.